All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and our latest RBT exam practice set, where we're going through the next set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack. As always, when you pass, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out card. Study hard. Let's get going. A feeding specialist is helping toddlers eat more vegetables. At first, she only requires the toddlers to touch the food. But eventually, they must lick the food, put the food in their mouth, and then eventually take bites of the food. Feeding specialist is doing what? Okay, as always, first identifying who we're looking at and what we're looking at. In other words, who's the learner or the person involved and what are they doing? What are we trying to figure out? Well, we're looking at the feeding specialist and their intervention. We know they're trying to help toddlers eat more vegetables. And at first, they only have to touch the food, but then they must lick the food, put it in their mouth, and eventually take bites of the food. So, what does this look like? Well, we have a final terminal behavior, which is eating more vegetables, and the feeding specialist is teaching in steps or approximations. First, they must touch the broccoli, then they must lick the broccoli, then they put the broccoli in their mouth, eventually take a bite of the broccoli, and then they eat broccoli. So we're going through these approximations, these successive approximations, in order to reach a final terminal behavior. So what intervention do we do that with? A, shaping. There you go, right? Shaping is exactly that. Reinforcing successive approximations to reach a terminal behavior. You can see if you go through the question thoroughly, you can predict many of these answers. And it's going to be a lot quicker than reading the question once and then getting to the answer choices. So A looks like our answer. We can read all of our answer choices, never skip all the answer choices. B, using the pre-map principle. The pre-map principle says what? It says you can engage in a preferred activity as reinforcement if you engage in a non-preferred activity. As the feeding specialist said, well, you get to eat dessert if you eat more vegetables. That is the pre-map principle. But there's no contingency here. We don't know the reinforcement. We just know the shaping intervention. C, using a high P, low P sequence. Is the feeding specialist introducing a lot of high probability requests? She's not. This is approximations. Touch food, lick food, put food in mouth, bite food, eat more vegetables. These are approximations. And then prompting. There's no prompting strategies as far as we know. We can only use the information given. Based on the information given, we know we're using approximations to reach a terminal behavior. In other words, the feeding specialist is shaping. Why is topography worse than function for determining how to respond to behavior? Now, this isn't an applied question. This is more of a technical question. You got to think a little bit. Why is topography worse than function for determining how to respond to behavior? So what is topography? Well, topography is how the behavior looks. Function is why the behavior occurs. Attention, tangible, escape, automatic. And why are we so concerned with function? Why is that the most important thing we look for when responding to behavior? A, two or more behaviors share topographies, but happen for different reasons. Is that true? Can two or more behaviors look identical, but function differently? Sure. Think about holding your hand up. I can hold my hand up for a high five, or I can hold my hand up to say stop. Identical typographies, completely different functions. If I were to judge that behavior based on how it looked, I would respond incorrectly to one of those topographies. Topography tells you something, function tells you a lot more. So B, the topography is never important when responding to behavior. Well, it's not that it's not important. It is important because how the behavior looks is important for behavior definitions. It's important for repeatability. It's important to identify different behaviors that may look differently but function the same. Topography is important. It has its place. It's just not as important as the function. C, topography and function are of equal importance when responding to behavior. They're not, unfortunately, right? Topography is useful. Function is more useful. Function is just much more important than the topography for how to respond to behavior. The function is a lot of times and typically going to tell us what is maintaining that behavior. Why is that behavior continuing? What are they gaining? What are they getting rid of? D, topography is more important when responding to behavior. It's just not. Function comes first, no matter what. When you're in the field and you see a new behavior, first thing you ask yourself, what is the function? The function will tell you how you should respond to the behavior. So, why is topography worse? Well, two or more behaviors can share topographies. They look the same, but happen for different reasons. You're talking with your client's parents while your client takes a break. Parents tell you that they're going to start using facilitated communication, an unproven and controversial communication method with their child. You are aware of the issues associated with facilitated communication. What should you do? Facilitated communication is a debunked and not research backed communication method that's been used in the past with children with autism. In this case, you are talking with your client's parents, and they say they're going to use facilitated communication with their child. Now, you, according to the question, are aware of these issues associated with facilitated communication. So, what do? Now, this question sometimes rubs technicians the wrong way because the idea behind this question is the ethical idea of competence. And it's working within your competence and communicating with your supervisor as necessary. And when we say that, we mean understand your role. As a technician, your role is implementation and data collection. When it comes to things like this, parent communication, recommending different treatments, advising against different treatments, it's not that some technicians don't know or maybe aren't competent. It's just not your role. So, in this case, if you are aware of the issues associated with facilitated communication, what should you do? A, explain to the parents what you know about facilitated communication. That's just not your role, and you can't do that. We don't, RBTs and technicians don't parent train without permission. They don't do assessments without permission. You're there to assist, you're there to implement, you're there to collect data. It's not because you can't do these things, it's just not necessarily your role. You always want permission first from your supervisor. So B, let your supervisor know as soon as possible what the parents plan to do. Yes, that's what we're looking for here. You want to let your supervisor know as soon as possible what the parents plan to do. That's fulfilling the ethical requirements of open communication, and it's staying within your competence. C, do nothing since this is not the responsibility of the behavior technician. Well, you don't want to do nothing. You still want to act because primarily our role, the number one thing is do no harm. So if you believe harm could come upon the client, you've got to do something. And then D, report the parents to the BCBA. Well, the parents aren't certified through the board. They don't have to report to the BCBA. The only people who are upheld to the BCBA ethical standards are people registered through the board, right? So BCBAs, RBTs, we have to abide by BCBA standards. People who aren't, other stakeholders, don't necessarily need to. So what should you do in this situation? Well, you let your supervisor know as soon as possible what the parents plan to do. Carlina feels that her sessions with her clients have been going great for the last month, and the data reflects that. However, today her supervisor attended session, and her client was unresponsive and engaged in escape behavior. What most likely occurred? Very common situation where, in this case, sessions have been going great. Somebody new comes into play, behavior changes. A lot of times, sessions don't go so great. Somebody new comes into play, behavior changes. So, since she's felt like her sessions have been going great, data says that. Why did behavior change? We have to identify the only variable that is new. That is the supervisor's presence. So when the presence of a new person alters behavior, what do we call that? Well, A, the client regressed. Be careful about the word regression. It is not a technical term. We don't use it in a technical way. We shouldn't say a client regressed when talking technically. That's what we're doing here. B, the supervisor reinforced the non-responses. There's nothing that indicates the supervisor reinforced the non-responses. Now, if there's no better answer, B might be the best answer, but as of right now, there's nothing saying they reinforced non-responses. C, Carlina has been misreporting her sessions the last month. There's nothing indicating Carlina has done anything wrong or has reported false information. So C holds no weight. D, reactivity is occurring. Reactivity is when behavior changes in the presence of an individual, typically a new stimuli. And that's what's happening. The supervisor's presence has changed the behavior. Client has reacted to the presence of the supervisor. What most likely occurred? D, reactivity. Group contingency is in place for boys in a group home, which encourages them to complete their chores quickly. They are allowed to play video games only once everyone's chores are done. On Monday, it took 30 minutes. On Tuesday, it took 45 minutes. And on Wednesday, it took 20 minutes. What was the total duration of chores over the 3 days? So for the exam, you need to know totals, how to find totals, and how to find averages. And totals are much easier. So if you get a totals question, good thing, you're going to be ready. When we say total, we mean the sum of everything. The hardest part about identifying or answering a total question is identifying the measurement. The measurement we're looking at is duration. We need total duration. So let's find our durations. Monday, 30 minutes. Tuesday, 45 minutes. Wednesday, 20 minutes. So let's add those up to get our total. 30 plus 45, 75 plus 20 is 95. What was the total duration? 95 minutes. Total is very easy. If we look at A, 30 minutes, that's Monday's duration. B, 20 minutes is Wednesday's duration. How do we get C, 31.6? That's the average. We add 30 plus 45 and 20, we get 95. You add up all your data points and divide it by the total number of points, which is 3. That's going to give you 31.6. That's the average. We need total duration, the total, which is going to be D, 95 minutes. You have to know totals. You have to know averages. Your supervisor designs a token economy for use during DTT. Supervisor uses a CARS theme, which the client loves. Token economy also includes an additional token that can be taken away contingent on behavior. This is considered what? This is a fluency question. This, guys, is an application question. It's just a definition, basically. We're looking at an intervention in a token economy where reinforcement, the additional token, can be taken away contingent on behavior. So we're taking something away in a token economy based on behavior. Is it A, positive punishment? Why can't it be A? Because we're taking something away. Positive means adding. A is not even, shouldn't even be second thought. You should immediately eliminate A. What about B, response cost? Response cost is a punishment procedure used in a token economy where a earned reinforcer or a reinforcer already present is taken away contingent on behavior. So this is simply a definition question. This is a response cost. And response cost is a negative punishment procedure. And you could say, well, we don't know what happened in the future, which is true. However, response cost is always a negative punishment procedure. You're only using response cost if it's effective. And if it's effective, it's negative punishment. So C, negative reinforcement. Yes, we're taking something away, but we're not increasing the behavior. So taking away a token, the token economy contingent on behavior, is going to be B, response cost. Gabe takes a train to work each morning. He knows that he must get to the train station at 9 a.m. or else he will have to wait around for the next train. Trains only come by every 45 minutes. 45 minutes best represents what type of measurement relative to Gabe getting there at 9 a.m. All right. In the measurement questions, they might not always directly ask you about a behavior. In this case, we're looking at trains. Okay. So you've got to know measurement well enough to understand what they're asking about. We know Gabe gets to the station at 9 a.m. because he doesn't want to wait for the next train. Why? Because trains come every 45 minutes. So train A comes, 45 minutes pass. Train B comes, 45 minutes pass. Train C comes, 45 minutes pass. So on and so forth. So we're looking at that 45 minutes. What does that 45 minutes represents? A, frequency. Frequency is a count. How many times something happens. We're not counting anything. All right, we've got a time. B, rate. Oh, rate requires what? Rate needs a frequency to have a rate. We don't have a frequency. Can't be rate. What about C, interresponse time? Interresponse time is what? Time in between responses. In this case, we're looking at time in between trains. It's 45 minutes. We're essentially looking at the interresponse time trains. And then D, latency. Latency is the time in between an SD and a response. We're not looking at that. We're looking at time in between responses, or trains in this case. So the 45 minutes represents time in between train A and train B, train C, so on and so forth. 45 minutes best represents what type of measurement relative to Gabe getting there at 9 a.m. We'll see interresponse time. Draymond Green, a basketball player in the NBA, was suspended one game for kicking another player. Although Draymond Green did not kick a player the next game, he kicked another player a couple of weeks later. What is the most likely explanation? This is a technical question. You have to think a little bit. We're looking at Draymond Green. He got suspended a game for kicking another player. We're looking for his behavior to decrease, and it did. Did not kick a player the next game. Behavior did decrease. The suspension or the timeout punishing, his behavior went down. However, a couple weeks later, he kicked the player again. Why? His behavior was punished, but yet he did it anyway. A, kicking was positively reinforced. We wouldn't say that because his behavior did decrease, so it was initially punished. What happened was B, punishment's not permanent. The big issue with punishment, it's not permanent. When punishment isn't permanent and we don't teach a replacement, the old behavior comes back. So there was no replacement behavior taught. His behavior was punished. Punishment is not permanent. Behavior came back. C, kicking was negatively reinforced. Again, we can't say it was reinforced because it initially decreased. And when it decreases, it's punished. So it was punishment, but it's just not permanent. And then D, Draymond Green kicked another player due to frustration. Well, we're never going to say something happened because of frustration, right? It's not observable. It's not measurable. Okay. We're not going to say D. What happened was Draymond Green was punished. However, punishment is not permanent. There's no replacement behavior taught. The kicking came back. That's why it's so important to teach a replacement behavior. Thank you for watching. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials. Like, subscribe. Let us know when you pass. Work hard, study hard. See you soon.